Okay friends, today is the day we settle on which DIY flower you should be making for your Valentine's date. Hi, my name is Joan. You might have actually seen me in videos before where I've taught you how to make DIY flower roses, DIY paper flowers, pipe cleaner flowers, toilet paper flowers. If you didn't know, I do like a bunch of DIY stuff on this channel. And of course, as we all know, the season of love is upon us right now. And if all of you guys are being good, either Galentine's or Valentine's date, you guys are getting ready to, make your own DIY flowers because that is obviously the superior gift to give for Valentine's Day. However, with so many DIY flowers and tutorials going around, I just wanted to do a quick video and break down what flowers you guys should be making and also rank all the ones that I've made previously. So whether you're looking for the best DIY flower to make or just one that suits whatever you have at home or how much effort you're willing to put in, which hopefully is a lot of effort, but it's okay. I understand the last minute gift giving. I'm gonna be ranking all of the paper flowers I've made according to the time and effort needed, the materials needed, the outcome of what the flower looks like, and the overall ranking. They're not gonna be in order, but I will have timestamps down below so you guys can check it out yourselves. But with that, I think let's get into it. Okay, first on the list are these toilet paper flowers. I actually have two types on my channel, the more rose type and these types. I can't find the rose types. I also don't remember if I gave them away. Actually, a lot of the flowers I made, I've given away. So I'm just salvaging what I have with me still. But to start, I would give the time and effort needed a, let's say 4 out of 5 for these ones specifically. They didn't take very long. The video I have for the tutorial is also like pretty short. However, if we're talking about the toilet paper flowers that are more of the rose-like ones, I would actually give the time and effort for these a 2 out of 5. The pleating that I do in that video is actually kind of difficult to get right on the first few tries. Once you get it though, obviously you can put it together pretty fast and it looks really very much like a rose. But yeah, that pleating thing was not like the easiest to figure out, and I think you've got to really have dainty fingers and be really gentle because the tissue toilet paper is kind of hard to deal with. So I would just keep that in mind when choosing which of these flowers to make. In terms of materials, I would say it's a 5 out of 5 because I think everyone has toilet paper in their home, at least I would hope so. So it's probably the most accessible material, and the little wires that you have here, I'm pretty sure you could substitute with probably like paper clips or even like a rubber band or something. And for the overall outcome, I'd probably actually give them a 4 out of 5. They've held up pretty well, and I made these quite a while ago, and they kind of look like super pretty, dainty. I will say the little pinkish in the middle from like blush or some pastel chalk dusting over it makes it look a lot better. But yeah, overall, I would give this probably a 4.5 out of 5. We're starting off pretty strong. These are perfect for a last minute DIY flower gift if you really need to, and at the same time still look super gorgeous. Okay, next up, we have pipe cleaner flowers. Now, I think these ones are the most recent popular ones that everyone is making or has seen on TikTok. However, I think I have an unpopular opinion, and I actually don't find pipe cleaner flowers my favorite. In fact, I would probably put the time and effort needed ranking at a 1 out of 5. These guys, honestly, were probably one of the hardest DIY flowers for me to figure out. I feel like sometimes the tutorials can be a little difficult, and also it just doesn't quite turn out exactly the way you want to. And pipe cleaners are actually, in my opinion, very hard to deal with because it's really hard to make them like fold nicely and kind of play along with all the like little metal bits. And then it kind of falls into the next ranking for materials. I would put it at a 2 out of 5. Pipe cleaners, I don't think everyone immediately has in their home, so you kind of have to go out and buy them. And there is actually a big difference, I think, in getting good quality pipe cleaners and not as good quality. Even just the tiniest change in type of pipe cleaner you use is like a pretty big deal. Like some of the colors that you can get at dollar stores are like neon, so they don't really look very nice, dainty flower aesthetic colors. And then some of the pipe cleaners I ran across, like the fuzz on them is like super thin and you can just totally see the wire. Like I even think that my pipe cleaners aren't even the best, honestly. Like you can still see the metal bits and like look at all these like weird little pokey parts. Yeah, so overall outcome, I would honestly give it like a 2 out of 5. Maybe that's a bit on the lower ranking, but I just think like, yes, the outcome looks nice, but it took me a lot to try to make these look like nice flowers. They look fine, but they definitely would look better if I had like better pipe cleaners and probably practiced a lot more for the shaping. Other flowers, you can have a better outcome with less effort. So overall, I'd actually give pipe cleaner flowers A 2 out of 5. Don't come for me. If you like them and they work for you, that's great. I just find these sometimes frustrating to make. However, still a very valid option. Next on my list is a bit of a broader category. It's paper flowers, but specifically I'm gonna go with the folded style origami ones first, because yes, there's a difference in rankings, I would say. The two types I'm talking about is these ones that I've made on my channel and also these lavender ones. Time and effort needed, like a 4 out of 5. I don't actually think they're that hard to make. I feel like for any origami, you just have to make sure to go step by step, but even the origami steps aren't even that hard, at least for this guy. And then for this one, I don't think there's really much origami involved, just lots of cutting and measuring paper, but I really don't think it's the worst thing in the world, and it doesn't take super long either. As long as you're being careful about the measurements and like trying to make it look nice, I think the outcome is pretty good. For materials, I would say it's honestly like a 3.5 out of 5. It's just paper is all you need. And then I think this one like an elastic, but those are things that I would assume most people have in their home. It's not necessarily the highest ranking for materials, because I think if you want nice looking flowers, you got to get like colored paper, maybe cardstock, so it stays together longer. For the outcome, I would actually give these a 5 out of 5. These flowers are some of the most favorites I've ever made. They hold up super well. They're very sturdy and they just look really good. Again, you don't have to be like a master at origami or crafts, but overall your outcome should look pretty decent as long as you follow all the steps correctly. And I think these are the best looking flowers that you could make with the amount of effort you need to put in. So overall, folding origami based paper flowers, I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. These guys are probably my favorite. Within the paper roses realm, however, are these paper roses. I think these guys were one of the first, at least maybe, I don't know about YouTube, but on TikTok that blew up like crazy. In terms of time and effort needed, I would give it maybe a 3 out of 5. They're not exactly the easiest to do, but they're definitely not like super hard. Like I still think anyone could make them, but there is a lot of like paper measuring involved and like cutting for certain shapes, and then also the twisting of the roses to make it well put together, which I don't think is that hard, but just yeah, there's a few steps involved, and I think a bit more effort versus like the origami flowers into making sure it looks decently nice and put together. The materials, I would again give it a 3.5 out of 5. Again, paper, pretty accessible, but if you want like nice colors or cardstock, you kind of have to go out and get it. However, for the outcome, I would probably give it a 4 out of 5. I think these look pretty good. They don't look the most realistic. You can tell they're just like, you know, paper, but they do look pretty nice, and you can definitely get a lot of like little details involved that definitely make them a little more aesthetic and nice looking. So for paper roses, I would give an overall ranking of 4 out of 5. Very solid choice. Very easy, I think, to put together a bouquet as well once you get the hang of making the flowers. Next, I think a very popular option that comes around for Valentine's Day, but I don't see as much on TikTok anymore, is these ribbon roses. Time and effort, I would honestly give it maybe a 2 out of 5, just because it's a lot more unique techniques to have to make these. It's not like cutting or folding paper. You kind of have to learn how to fold the petals. You have to use a lighter, and then there's the whole deal of like assembling them into a rose and making sure they're folded properly. I would definitely make sure you have enough time to do these guys, because they're not exactly the fastest to make. However, we'll get to the rankings in a bit, but like look at how they look. It's kind of worth the effort. It's one that needs time and does need, you know, careful details, watching tutorials and practicing. So I would probably give efforts 2 out of 5. You need to put work into making something that looks this nice. For materials, I would actually maybe give it a 1 out of 5, just because I don't think any of these, except for maybe a lighter, is something you usually have on hand. For the ribbon, you kind of have to look for certain sizes, certain colors, and also just, you know, get enough ribbon. And then obviously for the lighter, it's just like another extra thing that you kind of have to use that's very unique to this DIY. You don't really see lighters, I guess, used a lot. And then also the sticks that you use for it. I had to go out and buy wooden dowels, and then me personally, at least, I painted these green because I couldn't find green ones. So all together, that took a lot of time to get together the materials to even start making these. However, for the outcome, it is a full-on 5 out of 5, because look how good these look. I genuinely think the effort and time and materials put into this obviously is like on the lower rankings, but again, for good reason, because the results are so pretty. Not only do they look pretty realistic like real roses, but the silk gives it like a nice fancy touch. And of course, it's like very Valentine's Day themed, silk, ribbon, roses, pink, reds, and it looks great as a bouquet altogether. So with that in mind, even though I know the time and effort and materials is pretty low, I think I would go as far as to say this is a 3.5 out of 5, maybe 4. I'll say 4 out of 5. I think the outcome just like boosts it all up. Like these guys are just so cool to make. I think if you're looking for a very special gift that shows the work you put in, this guy is your option. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video gives you guys a better idea of what kind of DIY flowers you want to try making this Valentine's Day season. And no worries if your outcome doesn't look exactly like you hoped for. DIY and crafts always need practice, and sometimes things just don't go perfectly, and that's okay. It's the time and effort that matters. So have a happy Valentine's Day season. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!